Yeah, it is another episode of the Autumn Windbags. RJ Clifford, Juan Soto. Let's have some fun today. Christmas came early for Raider Nation. We're a full week removed from the taint smashery that we put on the Chargers at Allegiant Stadium. And I still feel it. Like, I'm still smiling. There's still extra pep in my step, you know?
People are still talking about it.
Dude, well, it's like, you know, when you get laid in college, like the next morning, your boys can see it in your eyes. You know, you're just like a happier dude. That's how I've been.
Pep in your step.
Yeah, you're just like the birds are chirping, the sun is shining, you're smelling the roses on the way to homeroom.
Smelling your fingers too.
But the difference is, sometimes you get big wins, and you're like, okay, sweet, we're gonna just live off of that. We're gonna enjoy that. Like, we're gonna hang our hat on that. This just makes me want more. This just makes me go into Chiefs on Christmas, which is basically a mini bye, right? Thursday game into a Monday game. It just makes me want it. It makes me want it so bad now after putting up 63 on the Bolts and getting Staley fired. Like, it
was definitely a curb stomping for sure. And it's just, I think what it did is it ignited that little bit of hope that what we did a couple of years ago is possible again. Now, a couple of years ago, we had a couple of backup quarterbacks, maybe some COVID issues, whatever. Okay, whatever. I think we have a much better defense that we had back then. And we have a lot of the same key players offensively. Plus, I think we have overall better offensive tools with the weapons that we have. And we didn't have Davante Adams 2 years ago, right?
Yep.
So I think it's possible to do. And I think because we think and we know it's possible to do to win out the rest of the season, the way that we responded after such a bad game, I can't express enough how impressive it is for us to play the way we played on a short week after not scoring at all against a mediocre team at home. It's a huge turnaround. It shows a lot of the character of the team. It shows the hold and kind of like the shake the shit out of you, you know, type of thing, where it's like, you get it.
Where, John?
The coaches are going to do that for the team now. If they're not responding, if they're not doing what they need to do, they're going to get put in their place. You saw what AP was like in the fourth quarter of that game when the third stringers were in there and we were getting, move the ball on. He was not happy. He wasn't happy, blowing assignments, missed tackles. He wasn't happy whatsoever. And that's the type of thing that if you're going to lose a game, lose it really bad, right? If you're going to lose it like 3-0 at home, okay? Because that's the wake-up call that you need to push you into the end of the season. And like you said, it's a mini bye. We have how many days off was it now? 7, 8, 9, 10, like 10 games to 11 days?
11 days, yep.
11 days. That's like just as good as a whole bye week, almost as good as 2 weeks. So I think because of all those things, all that stuff is floating around in the back of our minds, right? And the fact that we won so convincingly, well, let's be honest, the Chargers didn't really give up too much of a fight after like maybe the middle of the first quarter, but we still had to do it, right?
They rolled over and spread their own butt cheeks.
Yeah, they spread their own. Ooh, cherry on top. Like in what was it? A Pitch Perfect, when he's like, ooh, cherry on top. But I think because the way we did it and the way that the fact that we kept pushing and we looked so good, I think it was a lot of optimism going into these next 3 games because these games. I mean, I'm not trying to say they're winnable games, but it's not out of the realm of possibility that we do another 4-game winning streak to end the season.
Well, the happiest person in the world if that happens would be interim head coach Antonio Pierce. So Antonio Pierce's resume right now, 3-3 as the interim head coach of the Raiders, right? Destroyed the Giants in his debut, beat the Jets again, came super close to beating the Dolphins, competitive game against the Dolphins. Awful blown lead against the Chiefs, completely embarrassed against the Vikings, and then put up arguably the greatest win in Raiders history points-wise against the Chargers. So he's in an interesting position, Antonio Pierce, because obviously this is all just part of his resume, right? This is all part of his interview process to be head coach. He's made no qualms about it, how bad he wants to be head coach of the Raiders. get the interim out of the way. He wants this bad. Being able to beat the Chiefs, the team that gave you your first embarrassing loss as an interim head coach, can do a lot. And according to Vic Tafur, it could potentially do everything. Here's the Raiders beat writer on JT the Brick show earlier last week.
Yeah, last night was big for him, I think. I mean, it was a national TV statement. I mean, he dominated him. You saw Mark Davis having the ball up in the box. He's laughing. He's, drinking 10 waters and having a great time and covering his eyes. He can't believe what he's watching. So definitely a huge statement game for Antonio. I think now you got 3 games left. And he's talked about the Chiefs, and they had him on the ropes early last time, and even back in KC last year. So if they beat the Chiefs somehow, I think he's got it. I think you can't announce it officially because you got to still go through the process in the offseason. But if he beats the Chiefs, he's the guy. And so, if not, at least have another good showing and maybe win 1 or 2 of the last couple of games. But I think he's on the right track.
So Vic Tafur saying if the Raiders beat the Chiefs, they're 10-point underdogs on Christmas Day. Antonio Pierce will be the next head coach of the Raiders. You buying that?
I tend to agree with him, man. Okay. Honestly, not just the beating of the Chiefs, but I don't know that the team that responds in such a short period of time from such a bad loss, right? Mm-hmm. The way that we responded the way we did, and then carry that into the next week to beat the Chiefs at the Chiefs. I don't know that a team like that is going to put up 2 stinkers in a row against Indy and Denver, right? Mm-hmm. So we're going to be in, if not win, maybe 1 or 2 of those last games. That combined together, I think it's going to be enough to get them. Now, we don't have to go through the whole rigmarole, right? Because if you hire somebody on your staff already, you don't have to do the whole shebang, right? If you promote somebody from your own staff, so you don't have to interview anybody. You just say, okay, you got the job, So yeah, I think not just the beating of the Chiefs, but what that's going to mean for how this team's going to play moving forward after beating the Chiefs. That's what's going to get AP the job.
So Antonio Pierce has a couple things going for him. One, it's sounding more and more like Champ is going to get the GM job. And I got to imagine he's going to want to hire Pierce. Like that. It sounds like they're tight enough and they're kind of in this together that unless Antonio Pierce embarrasses himself to close out this season, that Champ's going to want AP as the head coach. I think that's more or less fair to say. And like I said, not just beating the Chiefs. I think the Chiefs are we're 3 and 11 against them in the last 7 seasons or something, a terrible record against the Chiefs since Mahomes took over. To be able to not only beat them, but that kind of in a way sort of wipes away the first embarrassing loss as an interim coach, right? It kind of it takes a lot of the sting off. So it's like you said, we've gone over the record of interim head coaches. They rarely get the head coaching job. When they do, they almost never do well. It's always part of the discussion, but AP does have some things going for him that most other guys don't, even if it's, I think there's a 0.2% chance Raiders make the playoffs, right? The fact that Bisaccia took the Raiders to the playoffs, didn't get the head coaching job, I think that plays in Mark Davis's head a little bit. It's kind of had something good going there. I swung huge with Patriots West. That went nowhere. Why not go with what works?
Well, the thing is he's seeing now a more empowered team. Mm-hmm. With Gruden, we didn't have an empowered team. We had a dictator Gruden, right? Mm-hmm. And that could rub some people the wrong way. I don't know how much, especially in a league that the players make so much money. I'm not sure that you can have that for a long term, right? And be successful. We see Antonio Pierce now running this team and empowering this team, and this team responding. So that is a huge difference. And that switch from the dictator Gruden to the more empowering Bisaccia was a big difference of why the team was able to finish strong, as opposed to in other years why Gruden teams with the Raiders dumped at the end of the year, 19 and 20.
They just got worn out. They'll tell you, it's and that's the thing, long, hard practices. And
listening to Bisaccia, listening to the players, and making sure they're able to give their best, right? That's what Antonio Pierce is doing too. Plus, Antonio Pierce is a smart guy, and he's a smart. he was a good player as well. So he has that little bit of extra on top of it.
Yeah.
So it's not just the fact that he would be like Bisaccia 2.0. He does have extra stuff on top of that too. But yeah, it definitely would be. I mean, I don't know that he necessarily has to win out, but to give himself the best chance, he does need to beat the Chiefs for sure.
So we are pro Antonio Pierce on this podcast. We are pro AP. We are rooting for him, like him, glad he's a Raider. Whatever role he has, we hope he stays on board.
Oh, but before you go any further, dude, with that picture of Vic Tafur, he's looking handsome.
Right?
Jeez.
I went and found the most handsome one I could.
Jesus, Vic.
Because there's some
chill, Vic. My freaking chick watches this show. Yeah.
There's some goofy looking Vic Tafur photos out there. And I was like, all right, let's not do that. And that one took like some editing because, like, you know, I'm really lazy. I just want like the 1280 by 720 photo because that fits the YouTube, right? So I'll like whichever ones are in those dimensions, I'll grab. Like, I don't care what dudes look like, but there are some bad ones. So I was like, all right, I'll go into Photoshop and like be able to put together a 1280 by 720 because there's like a good photo of Vic. He's been on the show before. He's a good guy.
Vic's a good guy, man.
I'm not going to do him dirty. Not doing him dirty.
Definitely. We have to bring up that photo when he comes on next. Be like, Vic, we're your boys. Look at what we showed.
Right. Use the Jennifer Lopez filter on that. The Kardashian lighting.
Valencia filter.
Right. Whatever it is, send it your boys' way.
It's
use a little bit more proper lighting. But again, we're a pro Antonio Pierce on this show. However, I am far more pro Raider. And it's like I've been saying for as long as this podcast and YouTube show has been around, I'm down to replace every single member of the roster, coaching staff, front office, back office, janitor, secretary, gardener, whoever, as long as we're getting somebody better. And that goes the same with the head coaching search. Very pro Antonio Pierce. Wouldn't mind him being the head coach, but who else is out? Who else is available? That's what it comes down to. More importantly than me liking Antonio Pierce is me liking the best possible head coach available being the head coach of the Raiders. So I don't like the idea that he beats the Chiefs and he's the guy. I don't like that. If Mike Tomlin's available, like that could be a thing. We talked about Harbaugh over and over, Belichick, like all these guys out there. Like if they're available and they're open to being the Raiders head coach, sorry. Like, thank you for your service, Antonio Pierce. You were awesome. You're the man. We'll never forget you. Hopefully you stay on board as linebackers coach and be part of this team forever. But like, how can you say no to one of those guys if they're really, truly interested in all things being equal?
I think it's a difficult decision because it's not all about what they've done with other teams. It's about coaching this team. And one of the things that Mark Davis was looking into was bringing in a culture, a solid culture of continuity, of consistency, right? Mm-hmm. And there's not much more continuity with Raiders than how AP has been coaching this team.
Sure.
He knows what it's all about. So that also plays a big role too. It's not just what this person's resume looks like. It's what they can do going forward, because you do have to project as well. You know, you can't just look back and say this, they've done this. It's all, how is my team going to change? How is the organization going to change? What feel am I going to get? So that, I mean, that pretty much puts a negative mark on Harbaugh and Belichick, depending on, because we just had like a Belichick disciple coming in here with that attitude.
Yeah, but there's light years of difference.
No, I understand, but I'm talking about culture wise and team wise. Like that's, you know, Harbaugh had his issues with the pros. You know, with the college, he's a little bit more. He can have a little bit more control, but in the pros, he had a little bit of issues towards the end of his run there. And Mike Tomlin's just freaking solid dude all around. I think he's really, you know, there's nothing really to say about Tomlin.
The thing that all those three guys aren't, that Antonio Pierce is not. All three of those guys have something Antonio Pierce isn't, and this is not a knock on AP, but it is true. They're all culture shakers. They will change the culture of this team. Tomlin, Belichick, Harbaugh, and that's what the Raiders need. Is a culture
I think AP's done that,
shaker. Though. I think he's taken what's there and elevated it, which is a little different. Still great, right? And there's different ways to.
Man, I think I'm going to have to respectfully disagree with you on that. I think that he's changed what from that mindset of the business type mindset, come in here and do your job and you got to execute, is to like, no, get that swag, like he was saying in the original press conference. Mm-hmm. We have to let everyone know that we're the Raiders. Like, there's 31 NFL franchises, and then there's the Raiders, and you have to be proud to be the Raiders, and be proud to be a Raider, be proud to be on the football field, be proud of the effort that you're giving on the field. And it's different now. It is a Raider locker room now, right? Smoking cigars and playing basketball and loud music and all that stuff. And that wasn't necessarily that way before. So did he shake the culture up? I mean, he shook it up to what he's used to, right?
I think what he did was he was the perfect guy to be like a chaser for Josh McDaniels. Like, you're drinking, like Josh McDaniels was like drinking a bottle of Night Train. You're just like, oh God, like, oh, I have to drink this. And then here he comes in with, AP comes in as like a pickle juice back. You know what I mean? Or just like a Diet Coke back. And you're just like, oh, got that terrible taste out of my mouth, right?
The orange with cinnamon on it.
Oh, dude, like any of the, dude, have you ever had a pickleback chaser? Pickleback?
I can do pickle juice now.
Well, it's the best chaser in the world because it just like destroys all the taste buds in your mouth. And two, it's just pure electrolytes. So it's good for the hangover.
Hey, anyway. you remember my I don't know if you remember, but you remember my wedding reception, right? We had that tequila.
Faintly.
The tequila with the orange and cinnamon at the end.
Yeah, just begging for hangover.
Kills everything.
Yeah.
That's probably why you don't remember much. Went through a lot of bottles that night. I thought I was played it safe. I thought I was gonna have some left over. We didn't have anything left over.
Yeah, it was mission accomplished that night. And so I think that's yet to be seen.
My grandma got fucking drunk. Right? She was like 70-something years old.
Good for her. They always say the better the wedding, the worse the marriage. So I think that was mission accomplished.
I mean, the better the reception, right?
Yeah. Well,
yeah, sure, man. Yeah, that was probably. I mean, I'm not just saying it because it was mine, but I thought it was a pretty badass reception.
So I guess it's yet to be seen if what Antonio Pierce is doing is long-term and like culture shaking, or if it's just kind of like the right guy after Josh McDaniels just like stunk up the joint. You know what I mean? Like Josh McDaniels farted in the elevator, got off on the 7th floor, and then AP came in with like some Lysol spray. You know what I mean? Kind of like clean it up. Like, is that like a permanent thing, or is that just kind of like the best guy after Josh McDaniels crap?
Well, there's two things now. You're coming off a bye and you had the worst week you can have. You lose 3-0. I mean, I guess losing 50-0 would be worse, but you don't score any points coming off of a bye. You look and you look bad offensively, right? Okay, fine. Him coming back, the team coming back the way they did is a huge plus mark. Now, like what Vic is saying, if they can keep that going, and it's not just because the Chargers quit on Staley. It's not just because they really didn't tackle. It's not just because of X or Y. Whatever excuses you want to make, whatever excuses these sorry-ass freaking Charger fans are making for why they got beat so badly, right? That has nothing to do with the Chiefs. So if they do it again with the Chiefs, that shows AP can get a team to rally and to play better, not just off emotion, because you're not running off emotion for 2 weeks now.
Yeah. Him doing well, gaining momentum, gaining the players' trust is a great problem to have, right? Yeah. So, you want, because if he is in our back pocket, right? Mark Davis can make him the head coach, no problem. Done deal, no issues. He's already in the building, nice and easy. It would be a great problem if Jim Harbaugh, Mike Tomlin, Belichick, or whoever's available, the best coaches available, are like, yeah, I'm interested in the Raiders' job. And AP comes in off of just like closing out the season screamingly. That is a problem I want to have. Come February, come like mid-January, I want us to be like banging our head against the wall. Which great coach with a fantastic resume that wants to be a Raiders should we hire? Like, this is where I want to be. Is that AP crushing it and us straining our brains on, do we want him? Do we want Harbaugh?
Trying to find a reason to be upset about picking either one, right? Yep. You can't.
That's what we want.
Yeah.
That's what we want. But I'm hoping Tafur is talking the way you're saying about if he beats the Chiefs, that means that other things are going to happen that were good. Other things that led up to that are good. That's why I think he'll get the job, as opposed to he just punched his ticket and we're going to say no to everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And knowing Tafur, he doesn't speak in absolutes quite like that. I think he's kind of like what you're saying.
Yeah, he has a little bit foresight.
Yeah, that was the only downside of what I heard was the possibility that just like Mark Davis is just like, okay, I'm done. Now I don't have to worry about a coaching search. I can put this behind me. I can go back to Chili's and banging my ballerina girlfriend and
look, man, Chili's.
Like, you got some work to do, Mark.
Don't hate on Chili's, man.
Zero hate on Chili's. Oh my god,
dude, that deal they have right now is like $10. You get one of their huge burgers and fries and a drink. And you get bottomless chips and salsa. That's a deal.
I still haven't forgiven them for getting rid of their bacon blue cheese Chipotle cheeseburger.
That was my favorite one.
That was the best. Like, who puts those things together? Who thought of that? And it was amazing.
Claim Jumper had a grilled Cobb salad sandwich. So everything on a Cobb salad was in a sandwich, but with grilled chicken, and it was amazing, and they got rid of it. I've never been back since.
That would have been amazing in a pita. Like, you just put a Cobb salad in just like a vessel that can hold it, you know? Because you go bread on bread, it takes some organization to get it. But
I'm telling you, man.
You stuff it into like a kangaroo's pouch.
It had like a whole bunch of blue cheese. It had avocado. It had like...
And with the pouch, you can add the dressing as you go.
No, I get it.
You know what I mean?
That's a good idea.
I'm one of those like burrito, like hot sauce per bite. You know what I mean? Not like the open it up, hot sauce it. It's packet, bite, packet, bite, packet.
The only problem with that is you get the side burn right here. You get the lip burn on the side because you're always constantly getting the that's the only. I mean, if I eat hot salsa and it taste wise, it doesn't bother my taste buds, but it irritates the sides of my mouth.
Yeah. So let's say we get the head coach we want next season. Let's say maybe even as important, we get the offensive coordinator we want next season.
Mm-hmm.
The big question is a giant question facing almost
a third of the league.
A third of the league, maybe more. Who's going to be under center?
Yeah.
And this quarterback class is pretty intriguing.
Ooh,
Williams, May, McCarthy, Daniels, Nitz, Penix. There could be 5 or 6. And again, at this point, right? Like a lot of these guys aren't going to be in the Senior Bowl, not playing their bowl games. There's a lot that's going to go on between here and April. The combine, the interviews, guys shoot
pro
up,
days.
ball, pro, like they all shoot up. But at this point right now, I'm looking at 5, maybe 6 first-round quarterbacks going.
Okay. I'm not going to say his name because I like him. Okay. But
I say my name all the time because you hate me.
I told this guest that CJ Stroud, that I was very impressed with CJ Stroud. Okay. That I liked CJ Stroud more than I liked anyone else in that draft at any position.
Okay.
He didn't like him quite as much. Okay.
Yep.
He was talking about the whole Ohio State thing, and I didn't see him be that accurate. I'm just like, okay, I didn't want to argue with him. I took it from you, right? No one wants to see me argue with the guest, right? So okay, they want
to
hear
me.
Talk.
I'm the only one.
Now I'll argue with you, but I'm not going to argue with the guest. Okay, So he said what he said. Okay, I just left it alone. But I'm like, no, CJ Stroud is the guy. The tape that I've watched, there's 5 quarterbacks that are as good, if not better, than CJ Stroud.
You also really liked Anthony Richardson too.
He got hurt. No, I mean, I thought not at 3, not at 4. I liked them like in like 10, 11, not at, But
anyway, who's saying all? You're saying what? Williams, May, McCarthy, Daniels.
Williams, May, Daniels.
How do you rank them? McCarthy's kind of the wild card to me.
I'm not super impressed with McCarthy.
Okay.
I think he's good. I think I don't think he's going to be a first rounder.
His role's just been so limited. Like
that's exactly right.
He's averaging like 17 passes a game.
Yeah, you can't be a system quarterback without being super mobile and having like an elite something in college, and then go into like the pros. Like even Aiden O'Connell has an elite something. His mind and his accuracy are top level.
Mustache.
Okay, he's in his mustache. So he's like that's you can't say, well, Aiden O'Connell's an elite or anything. That's not true. It's not true. Okay, McCarthy comes in there and is throwing 15, 17, maybe 20 passes a game. He's mobile, but he's not super fast. He's not super big, right? Mm-hmm. He doesn't have like a rocket of an arm. He's got a decent arm, but it's not like, anything overwhelming. When you're a college guy and your numbers don't match, you have to take a look at a couple of things. Where did you play? What system did you play? And what they ask you to do? And then what can you do? I like May and Williams for me are interchangeable, right? There's going to be like Daniels and Nix and Penix. Those are the 5 that I feel are as good, if not better, than C.J. Stroud was in college. Yeah. Is it going to translate to the pros? I think they have a really good shot of doing that. And then there's guys like there's McCarthy, and then a sleeper is that
Tulane kid.
The Tulane guy, but there's
guy's good.
There's a sleeper guy from Ward from Washington State. Mm-hmm. He's a more mobile quarterback, was a big, strong arm. Not playing with much, right, at Washington State, but still, decent record, got decent stats. But I have to take a look at. But as those are the 5 that I'm looking at. I'm not super impressed with McCarthy, honestly,
because there's some wild cards, dude. Sanders, if he comes out, Ewers.
I don't think he's going to come out. That's the thing. That's why I didn't even mention him.
Not. There's some wild cards if they do come out. But this is where we're at, right? So right now we're currently 12th pick in the draft, right? We went from 6th last week, and then big W, things fell inverted, and now we're 12th, right? Where do you think guys land, and who's in striking distance? Because there's about 10 to 12 NFL teams that are looking for a quarterback. Mm-hmm. 6 of them will probably be ahead of us in the draft. We have enough capital to get basically anyone we want. We could. I don't want us to go to number 1. It's going to take 3 firsts and like a max to get it, right? But we can't. What's the value play, right? Do we want to get to 6 to get Penix? Do we want to, right? Like, is that where we think they're going to go? Do we want to, like, have you thought about this? Have you thought about what we're willing to pay to get to where we want? Because you know how I am, right? I'm a value guy. Like, the draft is, no scout will ever tell you that because it craps on their job, but the draft is rolling dice. Like, there's guys better than others, right? And there's every now and then there's a can't miss dude out there, but
we still passed on him.
It was still pat, right? Like, it's such a roll of the dice, right? So you go as big as you can with correct value without saying, like, I know this is the guy, like, because you never know who the guy is. But you can take a step up to get into a place where you think, okay, the odds are on our side.
I think in the 7 to 9 range, we can get one of those 5 in the 7 to 9 range.
Okay.
So if we can get up into that 7 to 9 range, if we can get one of those 5.
Let me wrangle up the draft order and see who's.
It's Bears, New England.
Bears via Carolina.
Okay.
Bears are probably going to want a quarterback, right? Think they're moving on?
Maybe, maybe not. Who knows? They may trade out of that pick.
Okay.
So let's just say they trade out because they already have a 5th, the number 5, and they want to get for the future. And
we hope they trade out because that eliminates two teams from taking a quarterback, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So it's going to be a quarterback. Whoever picks there, it's going to be a quarterback. Okay. Whether the Chicago stands pat or someone trades up to number 1 and takes a quarterback, that's a quarterback gone. New England's probably going to take a quarterback.
But my point is, that's 2 teams out of the running, right? Chicago out and whover trades out. So we're hoping
Chicago's not going to like trade out of 1 to pick at 5 a quarterback. Yeah. They'll stay at 1 and get their quarterback.
2 needs a quarterback.
3's not going to take a quarterback.
3's not going to. 4 needs 1.
4 needs
5 may come back, right? Maybe they.
No, they're not going to trade both of them.
No, I'm saying they might take a quarterback at 5.
I doubt it. No, why would you?
They might. Because you're gonna get 3 picks and like a Pro Bowler. Like, seriously, what do you think the going rate is?
No, I'm telling you, man. No, they're not going to do that. No, if they're going to take a quarterback, they're going to get their quarterback at 1 and then trade 5. They're not going to trade 1 to take a quarterback at 5.
You're that sure about it?
I'm positive about it.
You're going to say
just the way drafts work. No, if you're going to pick a quarterback, you want your guy.
What's the going rate for Caleb Williams?
For number one,
3 firsts and a Pro Bowler.
It depends. If you're picking in the top half of the first round, it's going to be 3 and maybe a second day pick in the next 2 years.
It's going to be a king's ransom.
A lot. It's going to be a lot. I'm not going to lie to you. It's going to be a lot.
It's at least 3 firsts and like a Pro Bowler. Like if the Raiders wanted it, the Bears are going to be like, we want 3 firsts and Max Crosby. That's going to be their.
No, they're going to get Max.
We'll never give it to him. But I'm saying that's
we'll do 3 firsts and yeah.
Like a Pro Bowler, like a legit Pro Bowler.
I don't think Chicago's in the market to get a lot of money on the books, right? Because if you get a Pro Bowler, you got to pay them. They're going to want another pick probably.
They've got cap space, don't they? They have a ton of cap space. Who are they paying? Who are they paying on that roster?
They have a lot of dead cap. They still got Mac dead cap on there. They got some issues on their roster, and then they just signed a freaking Sweat to a big deal, and they have to. And in this scenario, if they end up keeping, what's his face, whatever his name is, Fields, they got to pay him too. So, look, or
if they're taking somebody, they're trading him, getting more picks.
the way that drafts work and the way that teams work, they're not going to get people's leftovers at 5. They're going to want to get their guy at 1 if they're taking a quarterback.
I'm not so sure. I'm not so sure they're going to be able to say no to 3 firsts and a Pro Bowl or whatever. Regardless for this conversation, quarterback's going at 1, quarterback's going at 2, quarterback's going at 4, quarterback's going at 6.
Probably not at 7. Aaron Rodgers. Yeah, Aaron Rodgers.
Not at 7. Not at 8. Not at 9.
Not at 9. That's what I'm saying. If we could jump into that 7 to 9 range, that we can get one of those top 5 because you still have that. You still have those 2 studs tackles, the guy from Penn State and the guy from Notre Dame, and you got Marvin Harrison Jr.
Mm-hmm.
And you got home dude from what's that guy? The other guy from Clemson, Neighbors.
Mm-hmm.
That guy's a legit receiver too. So there's 4 legit guys that'll be top 10 picks. You just gotta jump into that 7 to 9 range. If let's just say for example, we're sold on Jaden Daniels. That's the guy we want. We don't see a drop off that's too appreciable between Jaden Daniels from Caleb Williams and May. If there is a drop off, it's not anything that's crazy, nothing that we can't overcome. Okay.
Yep.
And he's available at 7. You jump up and get the guy that you want at 7, and it's not going to cost you nearly as much as it would to get the top 3 or 4.
This is the problem, though. Who's to say someone's not going to go to Arizona and trade number 3 or go to?
Well, that's what I'm saying is if he's available at 7.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying is there's a spot there starting with I wouldn't say starting with Arizona. I don't. You
know what we probably will do or could do or I think might be a thing.
What's that?
7 rolls around to the Jets. What do we have that the Jets want? What do we have that the quarterback of the Jets, if he went to his GM and went to the owner of the Jets and said, I want this guy catching passes from me. I don't care what it costs. If you want me happy, do this. And we get to number 7 with the Jets. I bet you there's a great possibility on draft day.
Will we do just for a 1 or will it be a 1 and 2 like what we paid for him?
We'd have to pay. Well, number 7 is different than just a regular 1, right? On draft day, like those picks are kind of more premium in the moments. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It's not the same as like in,
maybe a 1 and a 3.
We give them. It might just.
But that dead cap, it's going to be brutal. It's
going to be brutal. It might just be straight up number 7 overall for Davante Adams. Ugh. If Aaron Rodgers is like, this is my guy, I want you guys to go get him.
That's going to be tough. And now there are some nice receivers They're not Davante Adams.
No. I mean, no. We're gonna miss the dude. We're gonna miss Davante Adams, especially with a rookie quarterback coming up. How great would it be to have Davante Adams there with you? But that's the thing. I don't want Davante Adams gone. Like anyway, the player, what he means to the locker room.
We're talking scenarios here.
Yeah, we're talking 7th overall and a quarterback we like in the moment. And again, it also depends where GM is. Like, I have no idea like how this person's thinking. Is this someone that just stays in their lane? Is this someone who's going to be super aggressive? We really don't know how Champ's going to handle a draft if he becomes a GM, which as it's starting to look. But I'm saying when number 7 rolls around, right, and the Giants take possibly the 4th quarterback, right? 1, 2, 4, 4th, if not more. If 3 gets traded or whatever, and we're down to
Arizona's not going to trade 3. Arizona's going to stay there. They want Marvin Harrison Jr. They want him bad. They want Marvin Harrison Jr.
Oh, bad. I hope so. But I'm saying like 7 rolls around and the Jets got their pick.
I'm saying, man, that's why I picked 7 through 9. I mean, if they might just roll with what they have and they pick one of those stud tackles if he's still available. Yeah, you never know, man, because that's really what they don't need another weapon. They need to protect the weapons they have. Yeah, you know what good is it if you're rolling out those crappy offensive line that you have, you get yourself a stud left tackle or a stud tackle. To protect Aaron Rodgers. Honestly, I think he would be pounding the table just as hard for that. Like, keep me upright.
So I say we don't reach for Caleb. We don't reach for Drake. Let's just get them out of our minds. That ain't happening. We're not giving up that kind of capital. Are we stoked? Are we happy if we get Bo Nix, Michael Penix, J.J. McCarthy, or Jane Daniels? Are you happy with those 4 at, let's say, 12, or any of those guys?
At 12, yeah. If we don't have to give anything up to get them at 12, yeah.
Any of those guys are happy with? Okay.
I wouldn't pick Penix that high. I wouldn't pick McCarthy that high. Okay. Nix and Daniels, as of right now, I would.
They feel pretty good.
McCarthy, okay. Penix, no. They may be around the next time around in second round. It's
going to be such an interesting draft, dude.
Look, the issue with this draft. And mark my words, guys, the issue with this draft is there's a lot of top-heavy talent in a lot of different positions. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of – I'm not saying that people are going to get guards, but you can get a legit starting first-day guard in like the 2nd and 3rd round, interior offensive lineman. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of centers available. There's a lot of top-end wide receivers, a lot of top-end corners, a couple of safeties are out there. Wide receivers, tackles, the interior defensive linemen. There's not too many, but there's a couple of top heavy guys that you really want, and there's a couple of edge guys. So it's like it's not like this is a really secondary heavy draft. No, it's a pretty balanced draft because there's so
quarterback heavy. But it's balanced after that top.
Balancing off that, there's high-end players at a lot of different positions, which means you can get a really damn good player in the 2nd, 3rd, 4th round even.
Let's say in this hypothetical situation, we do trade Davante Adams, we do get our quarterback of the future. Mm-hmm. I think the draft is very simple after that. 2nd round, best corner available. Then you start going guard. Then you start going defensive tackle. I think it's pretty. I think we know exactly where our holes are at that point.
Yeah,
more or less simple. Our weapons are fine.
So there's 2 different scenarios here. Let's say like we trade and we get back. We trade Davante Adams. We need to fill that role with something, because just with the guys that we have now, it's not going to be enough. We need to get another receiver to help us out. Do we do that in free agency? Receivers have been, you can get some pretty decent receivers. We got Jacoby Myers for not that much. We got him for less than what we paid for Renfrow. Mm-hmm. And I mentioned it before the season. I think he's a better player than Renfrow.
I think our weapons, if we keep Josh Jacobs, our weapons are, I don't know if we have to get like a number 1 wide receiver. Jacoby, Hunter, Mayer.
I'm going to say we need a number 1, but we need another guy.
We'll need bodies, but I don't think it's going to be make or break to have someone insane. Especially if Trey Tucker
Rice
continues,
in like the 4th round, 5th round,
I mean, if Trey continues to develop, right? Jacoby, Hunter, Mayer.
I don't know how much Hunter's got left in the tank, bro. I don't know how much Hunter's got left in the tank, man. He's starting to look old. He's always looked old. No, he's starting to look physically. Not just the hairline,
he was a freshman at Clemson.
Not just the hairline, bro. I'm telling you, he's starting to look old. So, okay, I get what you're saying. So let's run with that. We get our quarterback of the future. There's a lot of holes on our team, and I think they're equally as important. So whatever mix of secondary, interior defensive line, and offensive line, whatever we do with that, any mix of that, the next 3 picks. And from what I'm seeing preliminary wise, we can probably get a corner in the 3rd round. That's about a 2nd rounder. Interior defensive lineman, you probably have to get up a little bit higher if you want a good one.
Corner
tackle. D tackle. I mean, our secondary right now is playing pretty good. So
I don't know how sustainable that is. Like Amik Robertson's our cornerback 1 right now.
He's playing well, man. He
gets beat every. He has big plays, but he also gets embarrassed every game.
Well, I mean, it's the NFL, man. Not everyone's going to be Sauce Gardner. You know what I'm saying? These guys are. It's an offensive league, and these guys are just stupid playmakers. Yeah, you're going to give up plays here and there, but
every game.
I would say every game, but yeah, he does get beat consistently. So you can still.
Can we agree? Cornerback is probably the number 2 position.
No.
Number 2 position outside of quarterback. Corner is number 2 for the Raiders in position.
For every team every year needs to take a corner because everyone needs corners. In the passing league, you need to get corners every single year. If you're not taking a corner every single year, and if you're not drafting a quarterback every other year, you're doing something wrong. You got to make sure you keep doing that. You got to make sure you're developing depth. Because, I mean, corners get hurt all the time, man. It's a tough
Raiders more so.
Yeah, so we really need to get out there.
Hopefully Jack Jones pans out, right? Nate Hobbs at nickel. We get, 2nd, 3rd round corner.
We see how Bennett develops. We do have some pieces, man.
Everyone keeps grabbing Patrick Graham's system.
Just like you say, whenever, every game Robertson gets burnt. Whenever Polamalu gets into the game, he makes a big play. I don't know why we don't play him more. But I think for me, there's a lot more in the world population. There's a lot more 5'10" to 6'1" athletic guys, 190, 200-pound athletic guys in the world than there are 6'3" to 6'6", 320-pound athletic guys. Yeah. So if you have a chance to get a good one, interior defensive line, pick them early. You could get a good corner later. Because in the 2nd round, you're not going to get like a super game changer. Probably not. Like the Tariq Woolens are not just sitting out there every single season in this 5th round.
It's not like we ever had a chance at Jalen Carter or anything. Like that never happens. Speaking of
that, man, I'm having a good time.
I know. I got to bring you down every now and then. Bring you closer to earth. And some Raiders news. Let's bang out some headlines real fast. Speaking of giant defensive tackles, the Raiders signed one of the biggest ones, Marquan McCall, 6'3", 379. Just a hulking figure.
Quicker than fast.
He was a rookie in Carolina. Raiders picked him up. I mean, just a space eater. Just a dude is just like, all right, here's a speed bump that we're always going to have to get over. Because this dude ain't moving.
So, yeah, look, Butler's emerging as a pass rushing defensive tackle. He's doing really well pass rush-wise. Mm-hmm. Tillery, that's his game, as a pass rushing defensive tackle. Now you have, you play Tyree Wilson a little bit more at D tackle. You're going to need, who's going to be more of a pass rushing tackle. You're going to need that stout guy to play the nose. You're going to need that guy, right? Yeah. And McCall is that guy. That's what he does.
He just eats centers and guards. He's like, all right, you know what I'm doing.
He eats double teams and he holds his ground. I mean, what else do you want?
This is also Champ looking to stay busy. And I don't mean that negatively. I mean, Champ's trying to keep his job too, right? It's the path for AP to keep his job is pretty clear, right? Win games.
Mm-hmm.
You team's happy, you're winning, you're scoring, your defense is playing great. Like, that's simple. With Champ, it's like, all right, trade deadline's passed. Like, the draft isn't for a while. You don't know if you're going to have it. It's like, what can I do to keep busy? And this is one of those moves where it's like, oh, this is Champ doing everything he can to look like he's doing something. This is one of those guys.
Well, he's improving the team, man. He's improving the team. And honestly, I think we have a little bit better chance of getting good deals with Champ than we did the last few guys we've had. Because, I mean, people didn't want to deal with Gruden. That's why we got stuck with Farrell. Is we had a trade in place in the last minute. They're like, never mind. They screwed over Mayock and Gruden with that trade. And then, I mean, I don't know how respected Ziegler was in the league. Come to think of it, looking back, he's never really done the job before. Champ's been in these rooms for years. He's been up for a lot of different jobs, and he's pretty well respected because he's bounced around. He hasn't just been at one spot. He's bounced around a lot of different teams. So he's respected around the league. I think, we can make some things happen, shake some trees here. Get some fruit.
With him getting added, someone had to get cut. And that was I'm kind of surprised. Nesta, Jade, Silvera got cut. Rookie, 7th rounder. When you draft someone in the 7th round, you're like, okay, we're in this for the long haul, right? This is someone we're going to develop and hopefully, turn him into something in the future and get him in rotation. He played pretty well against the Giants in the brief time we've seen like decent play out of him. This had to have been something off the field. This had to have been attitude or something like that. Because the limited play we've seen, he played pretty well, and he still rarely saw the field. And you're like, we're not even going to take time to develop a rookie. Something had to have happened. Possibly,
or he just didn't improve, or other players improved around him. You have like Tyree Wilson playing more defensive tackle now.
But he played well when he got a shot. Like, he played really well when he got a shot.
We don't see what happens behind the scenes, man. We don't.
That's my point. That's my point.
Well, I mean, not just. I'm talking about play wise. If other players around him are just getting better, and he's just kind of staying the same, you never know. But it's possible. But I'm not saying it's not. That's not like a telltale sign that it's off the field issue. It could be just other players are developing better than him.
But at a position of such desperate need, you're like, let's not even let this guy.
If you're not good, you're not good, man. I mean, I don't know what to tell you.
There's 3 games left till the offseason. We have an entire offseason to improve. It just seemed.
Yeah, but you're trying to win now. You know what I'm saying? Like, AP and Champ are trying to win jobs.
He played well when he played. That's the thing.
Again, man, I don't know. I don't know well when he played. I don't know what to tell you.
Not really well, but like for a 7th round rookie, you're like, wow, like he's making plays.
Well, what if everyone else is better than him?
There's no way everyone at defensive tackle.
Can't say no, but no way.
They haven't played. The tape doesn't say they've played as well as him.
We're not playing terrible. We're playing pretty good on the defensive line. Do we have that punch? Do we have that impact guy inside? No, we don't. We could use that for sure. Definitely. Yes. If we move Tyree Wilson inside, can he be more of like a Leonard Williams type? A long-armed, pass-rushing defensive tackle? Yeah, he can be that guy. I think that's going to be something that we can maybe look at moving forward. He needs to gain a little bit of weight. But, I mean, I'm not making too big of a stink out of a 7th-round rookie. Like, Munford is that's like a huge feather in the cap to get a 7th-round, second-year guy to play as well as he did.
3 weeks left. Don't even let him get to the offseason for pennies to see what you got. It just, I mean, I'm not losing my mind over a 7th rounder.
But the thing is, too, you have to look.
It just tells me there's something else going on.
Well, from this perspective, okay. Not a lot of tape on him. He was okay when he played. Who's going to want to sign him to, their roster? He's going to still be out there. He's going to be floating out there. We'll probably sign him back. Chances are, yeah. I don't think anyone's going to, put up too much of a stink of Nesta, Jade Silvera being out there.
all this does is it gives me a little bit of a glimpse of how Champ and AP are handling things when there's 3 games left and you're not letting your rookie get to the offseason to develop. It looks to me like a little bit of an attitude problem. We're not dealing with it. You're gone.
It's possible. Yeah.
That's what I'm reading into.
From that perspective, yes. Right. Hey, you're not good for X. You're not good for Y. You're not good for my team. I don't care who you are. You got to go.
We're not even gonna give you your full rookie year to develop, go into the offseason and figure it out. It's just like, nope, moving on.
Or it could be
to me like good attitude.
It could be best players play. We're looking to improve every single game, every single week. So make sure you're one of the guys that's improving. They obviously feel that Marquan McCall is an upgrade over Nesta Silvera.
I'm glad you're sitting down because I don't want you to pass out.
Okay.
The Raiders are the least penalized team in the National Football League.
Ugh.
64
for a second.
penalties. That's it. That's it. Now they're third in penalty yards, but in the number of times that a zebra has reached into his pocket, grabbed a bright yellow piece of laundry, and threw it at someone in the silver and black has only been 64 times. This is uncanny. The Raiders are the most penalized franchise in NFL history historically, and it's not close.
We're one of the lowest getting penalties.
And the lowest getting penalties.
Probably one of the lowest. Oh, I see Detroit's lower than us.
And yet, only 64 penalties. What's happening?
I guess maybe the JMD era wasn't all bad.
Yeah. I think that's fair.
I said it before the season started. Even when you have a bad season, it's not all bad. Not everything goes wrong, right? Mm-hmm. But I just think it's just a big part of it is almost like how more work gets done when people work from home, right? Like people work a lot more hours, right? Like that's a statistic. People work more hours when they work from home. Well, you give someone, you empower somebody to be a part of something, to have more control over what they're doing, right? Maybe they'll pay a little bit more attention to detail and they're penalized less.
Mm. Yeah, I think the military regiment of Josh McDaniels turned into the empowerment of Antonio Pierce. I think those two kind of blended well in this element, right?
Good mix.
I think also defensively, Patrick Graham as defensive coordinator plays a big part of it, right? Like guys are generally in good position, and when you're in good position, you're not cheating. You're not grabbing, you're not reaching, you're not grabbing face masks, you're not tripping dudes. I think that plays a little bit of a key into it, but. My entire life, it's always been like, yeah, Raiders, number one in penalties. They're not only number 3 this season. Wow. And it was always all forms of penalties, like the dumbass, false start. And then it was also I'm playing too hard.
That was your boy, dude.
All of them.
Who was that guy?
Not this time.
Freaking Parker, Brandon Parker.
Oh, my boy. He just signed the Raiders. Someone just re-signed him. Someone just signed Brandon Parker. What happened? Hold on.
I don't want him waste any mental energy on that.
Well, I'm gonna make you waste it. Brandon Parker. The Raiders just re-signed him.
Did they? Oh, good for them.
How stoked are you?
Through the roof.
Hold on. I guess Raiders signed Brandon Parker to active roster.
Good for him.
How stoked are you?
I'm ecstatic.
I can tell.
Super fun.
We chatted so much. We don't have time to do Raiders Chiefs, so we'll have to do a live one. What's your schedule like Thursday and Friday? Are you working Friday? You have actual work?
Yeah, I work Friday.
Okay.
Let's see. I got
a Christmas party Friday. Christmas party Friday night.
Friday, Saturday. Yeah.
Damn. All right, we're gonna have to figure this out somehow.
I mean, we could do morning. We could do a morning one on Saturday.
Morning. That could work.
That'll work.
Ready to do some What Up Windbags?
Yeah, why not?
Soulless Ginger 717. Thank you so much.
Aren't they all soulless?
But this is 717.
He's
this one's more soulless than 716 or 718.
Got it.
Hey, Soto, have you tried a slow feeder for the cats? Beats cleaning up gut bombs.
Yeah. So, interestingly, when I did the post-game show...
Your cats are as big of this show as Brandon Parker is.
Right? Look at this guy. Oh, my little buddy. So, my black cat, Apollo, threw up because homegirl came with a toy that her cats like, and she wanted to play with my cats to see if they like the same toy. And I'm like, my cats aren't the same as your cats. My cats are a lot more violent. Mm-hmm. And it was almost like a fishing pole with like a stringy thing on the end with like a bunch of feathers on it. I'm like, no, they're gonna tear that apart. It's not gonna last. And it didn't. It lasted like 2 minutes. Well, he's over here hacking, and he throws up a huge red feather. So it wasn't food that he threw up. It was a huge red feather with a bunch of spit is what it was.
Or he ate a flamingo.
Or he ate a flamingo, whatever. He ate a robin or something like that. He ate a big red bird. That's what it was. But yeah, anything that I buy these guys, it lasts a day and it's demolished. Yeah. So they're a little bit more violent than her cats are.
They're feral. They're basically feral.
Yeah, he's a real feral. Look at him.
Boogie 8558. I'm with RJ. I'll take the win instead of the draft spot, especially against AFC West rivals. What's worse, winning and falling back in the draft, or watching the Raiders use a top 5 draft pick to reach and draft another Leatherwood? I just brought this one up.
Fair, they got Leatherwood at 19, okay?
And this, I brought this one up specifically because there's a lot of back and forth when I was saying, look, tanking doesn't really happen in the NFL, with very, very rare exceptions. One, there's 0% chance the Raiders are going to do it because Antonio Pierce is playing for his job.
Yeah.
Everyone's playing for their job. The momentum
and the team is playing for Antonio Pierce's job.
And each individual is playing for their job.
Mm-hmm.
Even the good ones. Josh Jacobs is going to be a free agent. Max Crosby's trying to be Defensive Player of the Year. Davante Adams, it's like trade block. Like, how's that good? Like even
Hunter Renfrow wants to finish out that contract.
Like all these, like there's every single guy on the squad is motivated to play lights out and as best as they can. And that's just, and that doesn't even include 70% of the roster that are dudes like always on the bubble. They're always playing for their job, right? Everyone is playing for their job, right? So this whole, get that out of your mind. Play as good as you can. And there was a lot of back and forth of like, oh, tank for a better draft pick, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, look, man, sometimes we don't see the forest through the trees. Like the feeling that I got watching the Raiders just donkey punk the Chargers at Allegiant Stadium, drink in my hand. Every time I turn around, we're scoring another touchdown or causing another fumble. Like I'll remember that the rest of my life. That is concrete. Like that is a tangible, you can touch it, you can taste it, you can feel it moment in my life. In April, 5 months from now, who knows? Like maybe we'll draft a good guy, maybe we won't. Maybe falling down the draft a few spots will hurt us. Maybe it won't. Like, those are all maybes and ifs and who knowses.
Yeah,
like
you never know. Maybe
take those moments when you can. I got to tell my coworker the next morning, who's a Charger fan.
Isn't that the best?
Like, I got to rub it into his face. I knew that Brandon Steele was fired before he did. I got to tell him on top of like, these are all things.
I think everybody knew.
Everyone knew, right? Like, shocker, right? It's take those moments and enjoy them. Don't let, where do we go in the draft? Ruin your Christmas if we beat the Chiefs. Like, enjoy those moments. Like that's what we all want the Super Bowl, right? Clearly, like, and we're gonna do everything we can get there. But enjoy the ride, please.
Wouldn't it be great? Just picture it. We're jumping up and down on Christmas Day, right? Celebrating a Raiders win over the Chiefs. And somewhere in Kansas City or a suburb of, there's just a bitter, not quite drunk yet, but getting there man, ignoring his kids, yelling at his wife, kicking
Santa's not real. Get out of my face.
Just stewing because We lost to the Raiders. Oh, amazing. Now, I got a little bit of news for you.
Beep, 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 beep,
One
beep.
of our esteemed listeners said, hits me up, right? A lot of you guys hit me up on social media, and if I don't see you right away, just I don't look at hidden messages. Like be my friend.
You're too busy.
Message me, right?
You're very important.
Yeah, or you DM me. I answer all my DMs. Okay, so this guy hits me up on Facebook. His name's Rafi. So big shout out to Rafi. He's like, yo, RJ goes to a bunch of games. How come you don't go to any games? And I'm like, well, a couple of these times, RJ's, has a little bit more connections than I do to go to games. I don't really have those connections or whatever. I'm not in Vegas a lot. And he's like, yeah, man, if next season you can be my guest in the suite. You can come to my suite and we can watch. You come to my game. Come to a game.
My man.
And I'm like, duh, hell yeah, I'll do that. So next season I'm going to a game with the homie Rafi.
Bitching.
Yeah.
You guys have a great time.
And then after the game, I am going to walk up to people and I am going to say, hey, do you watch the Autumn Windbags? You want to be on a podcast right now? Ask a question to one of our hosts. Boom.
By then will be our production will be so good. Like we'll have like a cameraman, we'll have a microphone, lighting.
And she got to show titties. If you want to be on air, you got to show titties.
You'll be a man on the street in the real way.
That'd be sweet.
Breezy 510. When the chemistry is on, you two are the best Raiders show. One love from the East Coast. How often is the chemistry off? That's what I'm curious.
I don't know. I think even when we agree too much.
Is that when it's off?
I think that's when it's off. Because okay. I think even when we disagree, we have a way of presenting our opinion and our stating our position in a way that's like, I don't think either one of us have been like so over the moon wrong about stuff. I think we can all back up why we feel the way we do.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, the only time some of the more boring shows I will admit is like when we agreed on most things. Like today, we disagreed on how to get a quarterback. We had a discussion on, coaching wise, what to do and stuff like that. So, I mean, I guess we could disagree more if you want.
I'm telling you, the key to a proper show with two hosts is to have the highest respect for their knowledge and no respect for them as a man. And that's how you make.
I think we have that covered.
I think we're there. That's where we want to be. All right, that's it for us. We're going to figure out a time to do the pre-game stuff for Chiefs sooner, hopefully sooner than later.
I don't think I have anything to do Saturday until later.
Okay, so maybe a Saturday scenario. It's a little late, but we got to do what we got to do. And then obviously we'll do post on Monday, Christmas. We'll probably do that later in the day. Does that work for you? Because it's Christmas. My wife might chop off one of my nuts if I leave Christmas at like 1 p.m. to do a post show. Are you down for like a
quickie? Just do a quickie.
Okay.
20-30 minutes tops.
We'll figure that out.
I might have something to do that night.
Okay. We'll do the math on that. A lot of live stuff coming up. Stick around. Enjoy it. 10-point dogs, the Raiders. God, I want this one on Christmas. When the schedule came out, I was just like, ugh, I'm going to be so miserable at Christmas. We're definitely going to lose. I'm like, dude.
I don't know, man.
I want it. I want it. Until then, knock on wood if you're with me. Hey, you made it to the end of our video. Great job. I know you want more. Go ahead and click the next video. And if you're feeling crazy, go ahead and subscribe.